Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast Retro Life for You, movies of the 1980s and 1990s. My name is Chris. Today I'm President Chris, and alongside me here is Treasurer Travis.
Thank you very much, Chris. We have a wonderful movie for you people today. When Chris told me about this movie, I said, "Wow, what a terrific movie!
You're going to make it the most terrific movie of all time, right?
It's it's huge.
Hey, make Hollywood
It's
great
gonna be
again.
huge. Make
Do
Hollywood great again."
make Hollywood great again.
Mhm.
Today we are diving into the 1996 political comedy My Fellow Americans that stars
Oh,
James Garner and Jack Lemmon. So if you have not seen it, run out and find it, or just go online and search where you can stream it because it is definitely well worth it. It's very funny. I still find it very funny. I know Travis is kind of
yeah.
on the border here on it. I mean,
Yeah. Well, it's still a funny movie. I just didn't find it as humorous as I did back in the day, which was weird to me. That's what we were having a whole conversation before we got crunk up here. How there are you gave me an example of a movie that you loved and watched again. I was like, wow, this wasn't as what I thought it was. It's still funny. It's still great.
yeah,
One of
I
my
mean,
absolute favorite things about it is Dorothy.
yeah,
That's one of my absolute favorite things about the whole movie.
Dorothy. Let's not give Dorothy away in case
Yeah,
in case certain people haven't seen it. Let's just say that
right.
there is a parade that the presidents end up walking in, trying to hide in plain sight, and there's a Dorothy from Wizard of Oz there, and
Mhm.
Dorothy
Yeah,
ties in into the movie in a different part as well. So you'd want to
yes,
wait and see this on your
in a
own.
latter segment.
Right, right. So definitely, definitely a fun movie. And what he referred to a moment ago, of course, I'm easily amused. So I mean, I still laugh at this movie all the way through. It's my kind of humor, I guess. But I was telling him when he told me it wasn't as funny as it once was to him the first time around. I'm like,
Mhm.
sometimes things when we're younger stands out to be great, and then when we get older, we really question our taste and stuff. So when see, I was born in '73, around 77, 78, 79, somewhere in there back when Kiss was still relevant in the rock music era, they made a movie called Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park. And I remember it being on television. I thought it was the greatest thing ever. Super cool. Love the music too. Even at that little young age, I still kind of like the sound of what they had in that movie and everything. And then a bunch of years later, after I've graduated high school, I guess somewhere in the early '90s, they released it on VHS tape. It may have even been before I graduated. I'm trying to think of when VHS kind of fizzled out. I can't remember when exactly.
Oh, it
It was
wasn't until the
it was
90s.
it was in the '90s somewhere when it started fizzling out, really. So
Yeah,
it
because we
it,
were
it
still doing VHS in the early mid 90s.
yeah. So it could have been after I graduated, but anyway, I bought it. So excited to watch it. Took it home, tore that plastic off of it, popped it in, and 20 minutes into it, I'm just like, what possessed me to watch this when I was a kid?
Yeah, I was gonna say Blu-ray had been out for a hot minute. Blu-ray had been out for about 3 or 4 years, and I didn't get my first Blu-ray player until I was about 23, 24, 2003, 2004. So I think Blu-ray came out like late 90s, early 2000s. So yeah.
Yeah.
But
But
yeah, no, it
anyway,
was it was a good it was a lot of there's a lot of one-liners and back and forth, kind of like Grumpy Old Men, but
it's
the
funny you
zingers
bring that up. So
the
go ahead
zinger
and say what you're saying. I got
I
something
don't
for
think
you after you finish.
I don't think the zingers were quite as good as Grumpy Old Men. Like one of my favorite things in Grumpy Old Men was when Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon they're going back and forth, and I think it was Walter Matthau. He said, "Hey, well, why don't you do the world a favor and pull your bottom lip over your forehead and swallow?" It's like it was like Grumpy Old Men, one of the funniest movies I
oh,
think I ever seen back in the day.
oh,
But I hadn't seen it in years either.
I
And
certainly
when
me
Chris
neither.
said when Chris brought this one up, I was super excited. I'm like, yeah, that movie's hilarious. So I was just kind of surprised that I didn't say I didn't like the movie. I still love the movie, but it just wasn't as funny as I remember it being, which was just caught me off guard.
Well, it's funny that you bring up Grumpy Old Men because this was originally supposed to be a Walter Matthau Jack Lemmon movie again.
Oh, okay.
Um, Matt Douglas was written for Matthau. However,
Okay.
due to an illness, he had to pull out, and he was replaced by James Garner.
Okay.
It still worked. It still worked.
Absolutely.
But I
Absolutely.
mean, to see those 2 reunited again probably would have been so much better.
It would have been gold, I think. Those two are unreal together.
I also read, oh, tidbit here of information that Kramer and Douglas were originally written to be younger presidents, and they were to be played by Robin Williams and Dustin Hoffman.
That could have been funny too.
Yeah, that could have been something else. We'll never know, but it could have been something else. On the set, it says during principal photography, the picture was often informally and unofficially called "Grumpy Old Presidents."
Yeah. So grumpy old
Oh,
presidents.
that's great. This movie is, man, I'm talking packed full of people
Oh yeah.
that you've seen in so many movies. And let's go with the obvious right off the bat: Jack Lemmon and James Garner playing
Hmm.
the two ex presidents. One's Democrat, one's Republican. They've ran against each other, one replaced the other. They've always hated each other and what they stand for politically and everything. Your typical politics, right? Even
Hmm.
it just goes to show you things don't change whether it's in the past or present or in the movies. It's all the same. Um,
Right.
the current president and his vice president are played by Dan Aykroyd as the president and John Hurd as the vice president. Now, John Hurd, if you don't know him just by name, you'll definitely know him as Kevin McAllister's father in Home Alone. But he's
Oh yeah.
been in a bunch more stuff than just that though. And his character is very, I don't know, very very goofy. He's kind of very Al Gore like, not Al Gore. What's dude's name? Who's
Oh,
the goofy vice
no,
president?
no. Yeah, the one that misspelled potato.
Yeah, yeah. What was his name?
Oh, he was that it wasn't Cheney.
Yeah, not Dick
It
Cheney.
was the one for Bush. It was the one that was
Right,
for George Bush. I
right.
can't remember to save my life. He misspelled potato. I
Dan,
remember that. Dan.
Dan,
I
Dan
can't.
something.
Yeah, I still can't remember.
Oh my God, we're so old. All
But
right,
I know, right? It's still
but
got. I still knew exactly who you were talking about, though.
yeah, it's a playoff of him, but he's just to give you just a little example of him, a little sample. At the end of the movie, there's something going on. I'm not gonna tell you what it is because you might see people still may watch it, but
Dan Quayle.
Dan Quayle, there you go. He's telling them how he did something, right? And everybody
Hmm.
thinks he's stupid, but in reality, what he did made him look pretty smart. He said,
Right?
all in all, in the end, it's all just one great big facade.
It's just one big facade. He
How's
was serious when he
he's
said
like,
that
yeah,
too.
very serious. He's like, who's the dummy now?
He meant that. He really
Right,
meant that. Like
right.
that was how that word was pronounced.
Now, I know there are some people who don't know what we're talking about still. Facade is not the word, it's facade. But it's
Right.
spelled Facade. You would think it's
Yeah.
facade probably.
That
So
was
for
one
those
big
of you who are
facade.
not in the know, it's pronounced facade. It's all been one facade, like one big illusion or something.
Hmm.
But
That was pretty great.
and that's not the only silly dumb thing he does in there. So as he does more, Dan Aykroyd plays a good president. Kind of, he kind of reminds me like a watered down version of his character in Tommy Boy, where he played the guy Zelensky or something like that for Zelensky Auto Parts.
Yep.
He's
For
kind of a
sure.
watered
I
a watered down version of that.
I felt like he was kind of playing off of a little bit of a little bit of a Richard Nixon vibe too.
One of the ex presidents, I believe, is I think it's Jack Lemmon, possibly. I think Russell Kramer was modeled after Nixon a little bit.
Ah, okay.
I think I will check in a minute. I was reading about these things earlier, and I come
Being all
across
cheap,
that, but we'll see for sure though. Going from there, Wilford Brimley, Mr. Diabetes.
Mr.
Uh,
Diabetes himself.
yeah, Wilford Brimley was Joe Hollis in it. He's been in quite a few things. Well, what do you think?
Mm.
Other than the diabetes commercials, what would you associate Wilford Brimley with the most?
Corky,
Hmm?
Corky, Corky.
Corky.
Our house.
No, that Corky was Life Goes On.
Was it
But
Life Goes
but
On?
but you're right. Our House is what I was thinking of.
Hey, what was our house?
Oh, Our House had
Our house
that
is a
had
very,
Shannon
very,
Doherty
very
in it,
fine
didn't it?
house.
Didn't it have Shannon Doherty in it?
Was it? Yeah, when she was really young.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I started to say Holly Marie Combs, but that's Picket Fences she was in.
That's it's crazy how them things run together though. I thought that Corky was on the same show as him.
No, that's Life Goes On for sure.
Life Goes On is
Yep.
Corky's.
Two different networks
Corky.
too. Life Goes On was ABC and Our House was on CBS.
Oh, when did Our House come on? I'm looking for it.
Yeah, look it up and
Years
see the
back.
dates. I don't remember the dates it was on television.
There it is. Our House. He was Our House. He was Gus Witherspoon, and that was it was Shannon Dartery,
Yeah.
Deidre Hall,
Deidre Hall, right. Days of Our
Chad
Lives.
Allen.
Yep.
Yeah, she was. Oh, I hated her in Days of Our Lives.
Marlena.
Yeah,
My mom loved that show. She watched
Mine
it, I
too.
mean, for a long, long time. She
Yeah.
eventually she eventually cut it out. I don't remember why. Maybe it's because she had to stream it online and she just didn't want to go through the trouble.
Mm,
Um, we also have Lauren Bacall, played Margaret Kramer, wife to
hmm.
President Kramer. She did a good job on it. There's this one the one scene that stands out with her in the movie. President Kramer is like, they I can't find this freaking thing or something like that. And she says, "Dear, if you're gonna use the F word, go for the gold."
Right.
You know,
That's
uh,
my whole thing. Just say it. I was like, I used to work with oh man, I'll leave his name out, but he used to say farting all the time. Well, farting thing, and I leaned over into him one day. I said, "You know, Jesus knows you mean fuck in your heart." And he just looked at me and he gave me the biggest grin you ever saw, dude.
my grandmother, my grandmother loved her to death and everything. My dad's mother. She would always be in the kitchen. If she'd do something in the kitchen, like she stubbed her toe or caught her finger on something, she'd be like,
Mhm.
"Sugar," you know.
Yeah, my grandma's was God bless a milk cow.
The things they came up with, man. I tell you.
I'm telling you what.
Uh, After Lauren Bacall, we got Celia Ward, well known at the time from being in some
Feel
TV shows.
award.
She played Kay Griffin, the reporter, the
Okay.
reporter there in DC. One of your people you like, I believe, Everett
Bud.
McGill.
Everett McGill.
You do know Everett? Well, maybe no. I'm sorry, it's not Everett McGill. I'm thinking of that you like. It's that was somebody else. Everett McGill though. When we did
Oh, he was the one of the bad guy. He was one of the ones. He was one of the like Secret Service dudes, wasn't
right, Paul Tanner. He's the one that was leading the Secret Service after them.
he? Yeah, he was
Uh,
man in People Under the Stairs.
right, and the movie we did recently, Heartbreak Ridge.
Yeah.
Yep. Also, Under Siege 2 Dark Territory, he was like the muscle for the bad guy, I guess you'd say. So, um,
Okay.
James Rebhorn played Charlie Reynolds. That guy has been in a lot of stuff and just small parts. Like the main one that comes to mind is Independence Day.
I've always think of him as the dad from something, and I can't remember what it was, but he was the dad. And that band, he was a doggone. He was a lawyer in something else that I
That's
seen.
what I'm saying. We see him in everything. We just don't
Yeah,
stop and pay that close attention. But we're like, oh, there's that dude again.
yeah. It
Um,
seems like he was in a doctor in Cold Mountain. He was in what's that movie my wife loves so much? Uh, The Talented Mr. Ripley. I
I
think
know that one.
he was a doctor in Independence Day.
No,
Oh, you know what? He
no, no,
was
no.
Clyde.
In Independence Day, he was the guy, one of the politicians, well,
Oh, that's what it
one up in the
was.
president's branch, and the president fires him. He says, "You can't fire me," and she's like, "Well, he just did."
That's what it was.
Yeah,
But I
that's
know I
him.
got this one though. He was Clyde Frost, and he was Lane's daddy in 8 Seconds. That's what I think about when I think of him as the daddy. He
All
was
right.
Lane Frost's daddy in 8 Seconds.
Well, we got
Great movie.
just
Also, if we hadn't, oh, that's gonna be my next pick. Y'all
what?
get ready. Y'all better buckle up because we about to watch some 8 Seconds.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
We're bringing country
What
back, boy.
what would Jack Perry think about it?
I don't know what Jack Perry would think about it, but I know what Luke would.
Yeah, but he's not here to tell us so. So, uh,
Well,
as
hey, well, Tough Hedeman and uh the oh dang it, dude, we're out of it tonight. The daggum Baldwin brother, Stephen Baldwin,
yeah,
Tough Hedeman and Stephen Baldwin both was still alive, so we'll get them to tell us about it.
there you go. Esther Roll played Rita. She's the cook at the White House. That's
Florida,
JJ at Florida. JJ's mama,
Florida Evans.
and she was still dynamite.
She was, wasn't she? She was good. I
Yeah,
liked her.
I like it when she had snuck the presidents in, and she's under. People are unloading the back for her, and they move it back, and there's a handgun there, and the guy looks at the gun and looks at her, and she picks it up, and puts it in her purse, and she goes, "Have you been to the farmers market by yourself lately? It's a
Yeah,
madhouse there."
it's a madhouse there.
um, and then we got probably one of the funniest people from the
Berta,
TV. Yeah, is it Conchata?
Con- must be
Conchata
Conchata,
Conchata
Conchita,
Farrell?
Conchita,
Farrell or
Conchata
Farrell?
Farrell. Yeah,
She played
that's
the woman truck driver
a
they
very
hitched a ride
Spanish name.
with,
Yeah,
and
that seems like a very Spanish name for her.
it does.
Is she Spanish? She might be Spanish.
One of the funny quips that we had back and forth with the presidents was brought about their ride with her because they had no money to give her for a ride, but she looked at Jack
Took his
Lemmon's
watch.
character and she goes, "I like that watch though." So he's like that. He says that's a I forget what he called it. It's just only one of two watches, of in the world.
Constellation.
The constellation. There you go. And he somebody like he had one and somebody else had the other. I don't know if it
Mikhail
was.
Gorbachev
I
gave
started to
it
say it
to
was
him.
Gorbachev or who it was,
I
but
think it was Mikhail Gorbachev.
yeah, he had the other one, and he now. So later on, as they're escaping, right, they're down by the creek before they meet up with the family that gives them the ride to Ohio, and they're getting a little bit too friendly, and James Garner starts walking off, going, "You know what? I got to stop this. We're going to start liking each other or something." And it's starting to make me sick. So Lemon says something, to him that kind of cuts him into him or something. He's like, "That's what I like right there, right there." He goes, "Hey, what time is it?" And he looks at his watch, which ain't there no more,
Yeah, yeah.
which causes him to cuss him again. Their little back and forth thing through the whole movie is great. So the movie's worth watching alone just for that.
Yeah, I thought it was funny too that uh, James Garner had more of the digs than Jack did. It seemed like he was always digging on Jack, but Jack was kind of like the oblivious. He was kind of oblivious to some of it.
Some of it, yeah, not all of it, but some of it. Um, and the one more name out here, where to go here? Oh, Tom Everett played the NSA agent Wilkerson. He's in a lot of things we've seen too, and he always plays the same thing. It's always some kind of government agent of some sort or a cop.
Hmm.
He's got that haircut that fits the role, and he's got the look for that very thing. He
Well,
he does it really well.
you ran right across Bradley Whitford.
Bradley Whitford. I didn't. You know what? I did it on purpose because I couldn't think of anything else he was in.
Oh, really?
I mean,
Oh,
nothing's coming.
dude,
Nothing's coming to mind, man. Enlighten me.
dude, he was in Godzilla. He was the doctor in the new Godzilla movies, for one.
Okay. Okay.
So that's what that okay, so that's where I immediately recognized him from, was there. He was also in he did a couple episodes of Shameless, I think, but he was in Cabin in the Woods, which is a scary movie. Uh he was on Mentalist, he did some Monk. He's been in a lot of TV like most other people, but he was in Bicentennial Man. Uh
Haven't seen
what is
that.
it? Skies on Fire. Oh, really?
Bicentennial Man. No, I've never seen that.
Dude, uh Robin Williams is a robot. He's like an
I,
AI.
that I know. That much I know, but I've never seen it though.
Oh yeah, it's good. But he was also the butthole in Billy Madison. He was like the one trying to get Billy Madison all the time. But in it, see, he was in
I thought
Philadelphia. He
Billy
was Fleck in
Madison. I thought
RoboCop.
I thought the guy was oh, that can't be the same. Is it the one that went up against Billy Madison in the little school thing? They faced off against
Yes,
each other.
yes, yes,
No way,
yes,
that's him.
yes. And he was
Oh,
also, and he was also, just because we can't disrespect this movie, he was Charles. I don't remember who Charles Phelan was, but he was Charles Phelan in Young Guns too.
Young
But I don't
Guns
remember who
2.
Charles Phelan was.
He may have been one of the people on the posse with Garrett looking for Billy the
He
Kid.
may have. He was in another great uh Robin Williams and Robert De Niro movie, the two Roberts, or the two Robs, Robin and Robert, called Awakenings. So some people had, for people that haven't seen Awakenings, that's a good one too.
Now, you mentioned, just to put this out there, you mentioned Young Guns too. For any Young Guns fans out there, Emilio Estevez just announced recently they're doing Young Guns 3. They're filming it here in
Uh-uh.
the States in New Mexico and returning it.
Whatever.
No, for real, for real. I'll
For
send you the
real?
video. I'll send you the video. Uh, uh, and with him in the movie so far is Lou Diamond Phillips, Christian Slater.
You just talked to Lou.
Just
Not
seen
on the
him.
podcast. Not on the podcast. Sorry.
Uh,
We're hoping, fingers crossed, everybody.
we would love to have him on for sure. And we are trying. We've kind of reached out through another person, hopefully, to get them on. We're gonna see how if it works out or not, but we'll see. But I did talk to him. I seen him at the Lexington Comic Con. Got my picture made with him, got an autograph. Talked to him for a couple of minutes, and it was really cool. He was really nice. But yeah, it's funny because I follow him on Twitter as well, or X, whatever you want to call it. Somebody mentioned to him that said, "How are you in this movie? The spirit horse came for you." He replied to him, "Did you see anybody riding the spirit horse on the way out?"
Oh,
And they're
there you
like,
go.
"Oh."
I love it.
And then Arkansas
How are
Dave.
you in this movie? Because we're in the spirit world,
Right.
asshole.
You see the size of those chickens? They
Yeah.
can't see us. We're in the spirit
Man, that's awesome.
world.
They're gonna be Chavez
Uh,
back.
Arkansas Dave Rudabaugh.
Arkansas Dave Rudaball.
And I'd say he was supposed to be killed too after the second one, but they didn't say how long after the second one that he supposedly died then, because
True that. True
it
that.
said at the end of it he was known and recognized. When he asked them, they know who he was. They told him, yeah. And then it just says that he was captured and later beheaded.
I really feel like we got room for dirt to somehow, especially how Marvel and DC's done a multiverse. We somehow can bring back Dirty Steve
No.
and Doc. I believe Dirty Steve and Doc believe they can
Uh,
come back.
a friend of mine said that he heard Kiefer Sutherland was supposed to be a part of it, but I told him, I said, he legit got killed.
He got
There
shot
is,
up.
he got shot up. He got lit up good. He went
Yeah,
out. Hey, he went out to finish the game. Okay,
he
and
sure did.
if he finished his game, it's done with.
Yes, sir.
So there's no unless they have him on for a flashback scene or something.
I don't know though. Well, I'll go back to 50 Cent, boy. I got hit with a few shells, but I don't walk with a limp.
I'm pretty sure Doc was dead. Well, hold on. Let me ask you this though. In the movie, I had to go back and watch it again myself. Now I really want to go back and watch it again. When Doc goes out and leads the charge on the escape,
Yeah.
the attempted escape there, and he
He
gets
just
lit
starts
up.
saying no. He
Right.
like wide earthed it, man, like in Tombstone.
Right, and just took out walking and shooting at people, and then he starts taking all
Yeah.
these bullets. But did they show him die?
They shot him up for debate, man. Because he was talking about his flower. He was talking about the girl,
Yeah,
and he kind of passed out. But I mean,
but
they
did he
could have
die?
dragged him up
Did they
off
show
the
him die?
yeah.
I
But did you
mean,
die?
why did he die? What if? Oh my gosh! What if they? So what if they? The rest of them got away, and
Right.
Pat Garrett had them go get Doc because he's at least going to give him
Patch
a
him
proper,
up.
like a real proper burial, not their joke proper burial they had, but a
Yeah.
real proper burial to and take him back. But what if they took him back and he never died because he was still living when they got there, and they got the bullets dug out of him and he actually made it through? What if that happened and
Yeah.
that's how they brought him? They bring him back. So there's always the possibility. The only one we know for sure we won't see is Dirty Steve and Charlie.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're
But what
they're
it
long gone.
but who is the doctor? Was it Alan? Was it was it Hendry? Somebody could
Uh,
have drugged the doctor. They could have drugged him up off the street too.
I no, the one you're thinking of, is that the one that was that was riding with him,
No, he was in town.
Henry William French.
Yeah, Henry French. That's it.
Yeah, no, I mean he was riding with them, if you remember.
Oh, that's right. I
He
wanted
had
to bring
lost his
back.
farm.
I wanted to bring back Viggo Mortensen with John as John Poe. That'd be cool.
But you don't remember he lost his farm to Mr. Chisholm. He goes, "I lost my farm to you, Mr. Chisholm. A lot of
That's
people lost
right.
their farms to you, Mr. Chisholm."
I do remember that. I do remember that.
He was riding with him. Him and Balthazar Getty as the young kid that he gave his hat to. They ended up shooting and killing him, thinking it was Billy the Kid.
That's right.
So I imagine this movie is
Best
going to do
$1.85 I ever spent.
a look. We can talk about Young Guns all night long, but this isn't a Young Guns podcast. So
It
that
could be. If it
that's
could be.
it could be. That was interesting though on Bradley Whitford. Thanks for pointing that out. I did not know, especially he was the one because this picture I'm looking at of him, he's older and he's got gray hair, and he doesn't remind me of the guy from the movie at all. So
Right, right. Yeah.
I would not have picked up on that at all.
Yeah, he's been in a bunch of stuff.
Uh, uh, and of course they show the married couple here, Jack Keeler and Connie Ray. They played Wayne and Jenny. Um, Wayne is the father. He's telling the kids, they're like, Mount Rushmore, where's Mount Rushmore? And blah blah blah. He tells the kid it's a naturally made monument that just appeared out of nowhere, and James Garner's character was like, are you serious? That was
Are you
created by such
serious?
and such. He carved it out of the mountain. He said, "You mean tell me that was manually made by somebody and not just man?" So the
That's
kids say, "Well,
amazing.
Daddy, who's on the Mount Rushmore?" He says, "Well, there was Abraham Lincoln. He chopped down a cherry tree, and then there was Teddy Roosevelt. He killed him a bear when he was only 3."
Killed him a bear when he was only 3.
Yeah, and
Uh,
so
that guy that guy was the dude's landlord in Big Lebowski.
was he?
Heck yeah.
Oh my gosh, I've not seen Big Lebowski, but I wasn't interested in the movie at all when I
He
saw
was
it come out.
Bob
It just did
he
not
was
stand
Bob
out to
Hatch
me as
in
something I
Wyatt
wanted to
Earp.
see. Who?
Bob Hatch in Wyatt Earp.
Oh, the movie
Oh, he was
Wire. Oh,
Halsey in Point Break too. He was one of the dudes that robbed the banks
was he now?
Patrick Swayze. Yeah, he was Halsey in Point Break.
I did not know that. He didn't strike me as someone who would
He
play a
was
role like
Mr.
that.
Fusco in Ferris Bueller. That's crazy how different people look.
I'm telling you, he's completely different.
That's why I figured why not just look him up for a second.
Oh
Connie
my
Ray.
gosh.
I saw some girl in passing in the movie too that I could have swore looked just like. I'm like, there's no way that's her. I ain't took the time to look it up, but it looked like oh this one time from band camp on how I met your mother and all.
Allison
Look
Hannigan or
just
something like that.
yeah, dude, it looked just like her. It was in passing.
I
She
don't
only
think
had
it
like
was though.
one little line. Oh, it couldn't have been. There's no way.
No,
I think
no.
she's younger than I am.
Yeah, I don't know. When did Buffy come out? The TV series. That's in the
Oh,
two
that had to be
thousands,
mid
right?
Buffy. Oh, I'm thinking of the movie. Yeah, I was gonna say Buffy had to come out when I was a teenager.
So
So
yeah, she wouldn't have been in that. Um,
1997. Yeah, came out. I was
there
17.
is okay. So I don't know if you noticed this or not. For any of you who watched the movie, let me know if you've seen this. In the comments on one of the social medias or at the email
Hmm.
retrolife4you@gmail.com. But let me know if you've seen it. And you, Travis, right now. The scene where I mentioned earlier, they're bickering back and forth, and he asks him what time it is, knowing he ain't got his watch. And he looks at it.
Yep.
They're walking off toward the voices they hear. Did you notice off on the left, somebody is in the bush and they squat down like they're trying to hide and not get seen?
I don't think so.
It had to be an extra or somebody, not an extra, but it had to be somebody in the crew that
Like
got
a
in the
stage hand.
camera, and yeah, like just did get picked up. They didn't catch it. I swear to you, there
Mm,
is somebody standing there, and then they kind of squat down like they're trying to hide all of a sudden, which didn't matter. You could still make out the outline of them and everything. It was crazy,
yeah.
but yeah, you have to
I
go
want
back
to go
and look
back.
at it if you haven't seen
I'm
it.
gonna say I want to go back and look for that.
It's there. It's I don't know why it didn't get pointed out or fixed or anything, but it's definitely there though. And this movie, like a lot of goes on in politics today, and in all time politics. They get dragged into a corruption scandal linked to the sitting president, who is trying to put it off on one of the former presidents and
Hmm.
say they were the ones who were doing the deal and everything. I think it was what was it, defense contracts or something like that.
Something like it. Something. Yeah. Some kind of kickbacks.
Yeah, kickbacks of some sort. Um, so we go down here for back to the fun stuff here for a second. I told you about Walter Matthau and Kramer and Douglas being the younger ones. So they've did a lot of the filming in North Carolina
Hmm.
and surrounding areas like it at some point. The train used in the movie is a functioning tourist train located outside the Great Smoky Mountains National Park in North Carolina.
Yep. I've ridden
Oh,
it. It
have you
goes
that?
around the mountain. It goes. Yeah. It goes around the mountain. It goes out. It takes you out to some old homesteads, and it shows you some old steel sites and some historical significance. And then, but it basically goes around the base of the mountain and then comes out in a big old valley and around it and back through.
And that was a fun scene too because they've been caught on the train, but the people are trying to get to him, and he's telling him. Douglas is telling, Jack Lemmon's character. He says, "We got to get off the train." Well, how do you suggest we do that? Well, we got to jump. We got to jump. And he's like, you know what? We can't do this. He's like, on the count of three, we're gonna go. All right. He says, one, two, then he shoves him,
Yeah.
and, and he just says, "God, that felt great," and then jumps off himself afterwards. Um, Wilford Brimley played the chairman of the Democratic National Committee in the movie.
Mm.
In real life, Brimley is a Republican and campaigned for John McCain for president in 2008.
Yee-hoo!
Yee-hoo.
Or was it yee
Uh,
yee? I don't remember what it
so,
was.
I don't know. Three actors who appeared in this movie all passed away in 2014. That being
Wow.
Lauren Bacall, James Garner, and James Rebhorn. So
That's pretty wild.
isn't it?
Hmm.
Uh, one of two 1996 releases starring Jack Lemmon and Dan Aykroyd. The other one being Getting Away with Murder.
Hmm.
Um, let's see anything else cool in here. Third and final of three cinema movie collaborations of actor James Garner and actress Lauren Bacall. There's a movie called Health in 1980, The Fan in 1981, and of course this movie here. Film
Well,
casting.
I got one. I got an old school euphemism.
What's that?
It's a friend of Dorothy is for a gay man first using LGBT slang, stating that or asking if someone is a friend of Dorothy is a furtive way of suggesting sexual orientation while avoiding hostility.
See, now you're gonna have to give away the scene because you brought
So
that up.
now it wouldn't
I
be it wouldn't be like, hey, you some kind of choir.
no, see, now you got to tell them what the scene is now because I didn't mention that earlier, so you kind of gave it away.
Friend of
See,
Dorothy.
we didn't bring it up earlier because it was going to be a surprise because it linked to the other
Oh,
part.
we still don't have to give it away. Now they just know there's something gay in there. Is it gay? Is that okay now? Has this been
It
updated?
has what been updated.
Well, no, LGBTQ or whatever the G stands for gay. So yeah, we're good. I was making sure we wasn't saying nothing we wasn't supposed to say.
I'm just making sure you aren't getting us canceled or anything.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking
All
about.
right. Unlike the three cousins at Three Dash Cousins, podcast, we're not banned in any countries.
Uh-oh.
So that's not a shot at the boys at all. Not at
I was
all.
going to say, if you want, hey,
All
I
right.
can catch up to him real quick.
I mean, Brian
Ye-
Brian over there has told me when I've said some things to be careful. They're already banned in like 36 countries or something. Which
Yeah,
is
that's why I say I can catch up real quick.
well,
It
let's
wouldn't
let's
take
let's
long.
let's try not to catch up just yet. Let's let them keep that head start for a while,
Yeah.
and then we'll go from there. Do you do you remember them catching the ride from the girls on the bikes?
The Dykes on Bikes
Bikes on
Motorcycle
bikes,
Club.
and the way. since you brought up
That
the
is
other
an
part, uh,
actual motorcycle club whose first formal appearance was in the 1976 San Francisco Gay Pride Parade, by the way.
yep. You see the look on Jack Lemon's face as he's on that
Oh, that's
motorcycle.
hilarious.
He looks like he's scared to death. I don't know if he
That
was
is
more
really
scared.
funny.
I don't know if he was more scared of the woman driving a motorcycle or the fact that he was on the motorcycle.
Right.
I could not tell.
How about the old girl that she was claiming she had sex with my man on the train,
It
and
was
he's
him.
like, "Yeah, they thought they was dressed up." And he was like, "Well, how? You don't mind my asking, how was he?" And she's like, "Well, kind of like his what was I forgot what she said. It was a dig though. It was
It
funny.
was kind of like his
She said something.
presidential run. It started off
Yes,
strong,
it
but it
was.
fizzled out at the end or something like
Yeah,
that.
something like that. It was pretty good.
Let's see. Jack Lemmon and Wilford Brimley previously appeared together in the China Syndrome in '79. I'm sure all these people have worked together at some point, though.
For sure.
So, how many different presidents do you think were mentioned during in the filming of this movie?
23.
Let's see here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We have George Bush, Ronald Reagan, Gerald Ford, Theodore Roosevelt, Franklin D. Roosevelt, Thomas Jefferson, Abraham Lincoln, chop down the cherry tree, William Howard Taft, and George Washington, John F. Kennedy, and Jimmy Carter.
There you go. 11.
11.
7-Eleven.
So, what would be if you had to pick a favorite part of this movie for you? What would it be?
The wraparound. So I'm gonna have to tell him the story. Should I let Dorothy go or make them watch it?
Nah, go ahead. It's all right. If I mean, this might be something somebody will see, but they'll still watch the movie. I'm sure.
So while they're in the gay pride parade, and somebody recognized them, and they were like, "Are you coming out?" And they're like, "No, oh no, 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 not me." And they told him that Jack Lemmon was coming out. So to keep from making anybody mad, he kind of halfway went along with it a little bit. And so anyway, he, he was dressed as Dorothy, the guy that was helped him out. He said, "I got some friends that can get you to so and so wherever they were going." So that's how they got with the Dykes on bikes. And then later in the movie, there was I guess, a Secret Service sniper that made some excellent shots that saved the president's lives. So they introduced him at the end.
Oh,
They
hold on, hold
introduced.
on, hold on. Why didn't he take the shot on the president?
Oh, I thought he was getting people off of the president. Like he took a couple other people down.
Well, the
So
thing is, so they're on the roof. They're telling people that those are imposter presidents and that they need to be taken out now. The
he
guy's
knew it
yelling
was
at him.
them.
Yeah, the guy's
Yeah,
yelling
he
to
stopped.
kill him now, shoot the people, shoot them. And he's got him in the scope, and he notices on one of them's belt loop something hanging off of it.
Yes, and I don't remember what that was.
It was like a little, I don't know if it was like a little key ring thing or some kind of charm or something. But Dorothy in the parade had given it to them,
Yeah.
and now the
So
sniper.
the sniper noticed that keychain. He's like, "No, that's really them." So they brought him up afterwards. It was like, well, this person saved your life, or you're alive because of this person, or whatever. It's like, "Oh, thanks, great to meet you." He's like, "Well, we've met before." And then he was like, "What? From where?" He just leans in and goes, "Somewhere over the rainbow," and did like the Dorothy face. And
Yeah,
it's like they were like, "Oh, okay." I think, honest to God, that's probably my favorite part of the movie because that was like that to me was just as funny this time as it was the first time.
it was. Here it is about Nixon's influence. As some of Kramer's mannerisms were reportedly inspired by Richard Nixon. So it was President Kramer, not Jack Lemmon's character. It was Dan Aykroyd's
I could see
character.
that. I could see that more. Well, there you go. I called it. Hey, hey.
Yeah, you did. You did.
Yeah,
That's why I'm letting you know you were right. I mean, it's
right on.
um John Hurd's hilariously dumb VP. His portrayal of Ted Matthews was inspired by the public perception of real life politicians who seemed out of their depth.
Yeah.
Why don't you just go ahead and say Dan Quayle and get it over with?
Just say Dan Quayle.
Just say Dan Quayle. Bill Clinton loved it. He loved the movie. Such a fan of the movie that he invited Lemon and Garner to the White House.
Wow.
Don't know if they win or not, but they were definitely invited.
Pretty cool.
So let's see. Final thoughts on the movie. To you, the movie
Well, you
itself.
didn't give us your favorite scene.
Well, I did not, did I?
Yep.
There's just so many for me to choose from because there's all these digs they're taking at each other. It makes me laugh a lot, and
I
all
think the
these
part in the
things. And,
restroom was second, a close second,
um,
because he's talking about that's what he's going to name
yeah,
his private,
yeah,
and then he's like, ain't that right, Blinky or whatever it was he called him.
Blinky,
Then he introduced the other dude as Blinky.
yeah. Uh, Man, I gotta think on this one for a second. It's so many things stand out. I mean, the part where they're riding down the road with the family and the guy's giving the incorrect history to the kids and they're calling him out on it, or when they're riding down the road in the truck with the woman who's giving them the ride and finds out that they're she's hauling illegals in the back and they're all
Yeah,
scattering and running everywhere.
yeah, that
Um,
was old girl. That was old girl from uh,
Two and a
dang
half
it,
men,
2.5 Men.
Berta. Um,
Bird.
that one stands out for sure. The very last scene of the movie has been the most memorable to me over the years. It always stands out because it's talked about all throughout the movie that Jack Lemmon's character, president character, is always tight with the money and everything,
Yep.
a real cheapskate and stuff. And so the two decided at the end of the movie they're going to run together as presidents. They come together, one Democrat, one Republican, running together on the independent ticket, and they haven't decided for sure yet, or they have, but you know how they don't trust each other. So,
Yeah.
you got James Garner's character, like, so I'll go up here, I'll make the announcement, and we'll get ready. He goes, now just to be sure, you're announcing me as president, and you're running as my vice president. He goes, absolutely, nothing to worry about. So he says, well, then great, then you don't mind me making the announcement then. So he goes to step up, he pulls him back, and they're
Mhm.
like they're holding each other. They won't let each other go to the microphone. The people out there
Yeah.
just cheering them on and looking at him. All of a sudden, Garner tosses a couple of bills on the dollar bills or something on the ground. He goes, "What, Russell? There's money on the ground. Is that yours?" He goes, "Yeah, it is." And he reached down to pick it up, and Garner rushes to the mic and goes, "My fellow Americans," which is where the title
Yeah.
comes from, I guess. And Jack Lemmon stands up and is like, "You son of a," and then it cuts off. It's because it's one last dig, just the one last one to end the movie.
Right.
That one always stood out in my mind. That's what made me remember this movie a lot. So I might even go with that,
Heck
but
yeah, I like it.
it's just got a lot of funny things in it though, really. Um, so this to you, I think I know what your answer is already, and you probably know mine, but you remembered it when you first saw it and you laughed a lot, and this time you didn't so much. The question was, did it hold up to you as far as still being a good movie today that people can sit and enjoy?
It's one that I would, I if it's one that if I was clicking and it was on, I'd watch.
Mm.
But um,
But you're not going to
actually,
go out of
I
your
would
way
have
to look
if
for it.
I had a thought about it before the rewatch. If I had a thought about it, I would have rewatched it anyway. It's like, oh, I ain't seen that one in a while. That one was good. But yeah, now after the rewatch, I don't think it held up quite as well as it could have for me.
Right. That's what I'm saying. 'Cause you said the humor didn't really hit with you as well this
Yeah,
time. I mean, to me, it still holds up as a funny movie today, because simply because you got the two guys running across country trying to clear the name. It's almost like a buddy film. But they're not really buddies or anything. But you get that feel of it, and they're digging on each other the whole time, taking shots, and uh,
yeah. I would say I'd watch the Will Ferrell one, Will Ferrell and Zach Galifianakis over this one, but I'd have to rewatch that one to see if that one was still funny.
what was that?
The Will Ferrell and Zach Galifianakis when they were doing Running Mates,
I've not
or they
seen
were
that.
running against each other, whatever.
I've never seen
You
that
hadn't
one.
seen that? Oh,
No.
that one. I remember when I watched. Here again, when I watched it, it was hilarious.
What was it called though?
I'm looking it up right now. Oh, it just get that back.
I
I'm
mean,
sure the campaign.
the campaign.
Yeah.
They will. Both those guys are, man. When it comes to their comedy, you really have to like their style of comedy. Will Ferrell in
Right.
particular. All right,
Yeah.
so Will Ferrell to me in Saturday Night Live was hilarious. He
Hmm.
was funny on Talladega Nights.
Hmm.
Had some funny parts as Frank the Tank in Old School
I
or
f-
whatever it was
I feel
called.
like he's one dimensional. His comedy's always the same
It's
comedy,
all the same
so
thing.
it got
Yes,
old.
it did. He's not really that funny anymore, really. So
Hmm.
he kind of falls back on some of his older character things and puts a lot of that stuff out still to me, in my opinion, to stay more relevant than anything.
Hmm.
And Zach Galifianakis, the only thing I think about with him is what's the movie
The
the big
Hangover.
popular the Hangover movies. That's all I think of when I see him
Yep.
is just
The
that.
Hangover and Between Two Ferns.
There ain't don't even know that one.
Oh,
It just yeah, don't even know
that's
that one at
that
all.
one's crazy good.
But he just stands out for that one
That's
for
not a
me.
movie. It's a thing. It's like a YouTube thing that he did, and it's priceless.
So let's say that My Fellow Americans was never made and they were coming out with it this year. Would that
Hmm.
movie take off as a comedy at the theaters if it was released this year?
It's possible.
I guess it all depends on who plays the roles, but who would you cast as the two presidents?
Mm, that's a good question.
Might have to think on that one or something.
Yeah,
Can't just kind of really just can't throw that one out there. But that's something to
that
think
might
about.
be
If
a
it
good.
was made today,
That
who
may
would
be
play the
that might be a
roles?
good. That might be a good episode. We hadn't done a recast in a long, long time.
Yeah, but I don't want to recast My Fellow Americans. Though we have to find something better to
No, I'm just
recast
saying.
than that.
Of course, I'm just saying that could be a good episode.
Yeah. Well, all in all,
I don't know
it
who
was
I would get to
definitely.
do that. You know what? You know what? I do know
Oh,
because he played the president in a different movie. I'm gonna get I'm gonna get Morgan Freeman on one side. So I think if I put Morgan Freeman up there, and then hmm, Morgan Freeman and probably what's my short dude that played in Meet the Fockers. He was the dad Focker. Was that Dustin Hoffman?
Dustin Hoffman, yeah.
Yeah, I want that's who I want. I want Dustin Hoffman and Morgan Freeman.
You know who I think would be good for presidents in it?
Who that?
One of them for sure. Still to this day, Steve Martin.
Yeah.
I think he could play one of them. I think he could. I think he probably play the character that James Garner played.
Hmm.
And for the other one, why not throw in his three amigo buddy?
Which
Have him
one?
be the. Uh,
Chevy or
I'm sorry. No, not
I'd put it. I put in
not
Dirty
Chef.
Rotten Scoundrels. I'd bring Dirty Rotten Scoundrels back.
Oh,
Put in Michael Caine.
Michael
Michael
Caine, dude.
Caine could
That
dude,
would be.
Michael Caine and
There you go.
daggone Steve Martin, bro.
There you
that'd
go.
be that'd
There
be
you
hitting.
go. Right there. There you go. I like that. That's definitely better. I was gonna say Martin Short is what I was gonna
Yeah.
say, but definitely that
They could
comes
do
out a
it.
lot better.
Yeah, they could do it, but Michael Caine and Steve Martin would be awesome.
Right, man. Well, I mean that's pretty much all I've got for this movie today. Do you have anything else you want to throw in to wrap it up or anything, or as far as like final thoughts on the movie or anything like that?
No, no, not really. I mean, it's a decent watch. I'd say go watch it.
Yeah, I
Especially
definitely
if you
say it's a
like
watch.
political pundit movies like, like Bull Durham and, you know, stuff like that. And yeah.
Well, you know what? When I think of the political movies, I was like Dave and what's that other one? There was Dave. I just saw it a while ago. Wag the dog.
Oh, Wag the
Um,
Dog is great.
yeah, you get those. Then of
Wag
course
the
my
Dog was the one that kind of like it makes you really real. It really does open your eyes to where you realize whenever something's going on in the media, you better be paying attention to what's going on behind in Congress or on Capitol Hill.
right.
Wag the
Look,
Dog is a great movie.
prime example of today's day and age. They just released some files on the assassination of JFK. Right.
Hmm.
Previously, um, files that were not previously made for public eyes or anything,
Hmm.
and now suddenly they're released. what's going on behind the scenes. Better pay
Yeah,
attention to that. Don't pay attention to
I'm,
the stuff
I'm
that's been
telling you,
dropped out there.
telling the tail's wagging the dog.
All right, we'll go and start wrapping things up. Then it's been a great episode. Love the movie, My Fellow Americans. Highly recommended on my side. Partially recommended from Travis. He'll say watch it if
Yeah,
you got time to watch it, but don't run out of your way to go get it. Probably.
right.
I'm not going to tell you
I'll
to
go
run out
for
of your
that.
way to go find it either. But if you see it on television or you want to rent it from Prime or something, go get it. It's well worth a watch
Hmm.
one time. And if you haven't seen it in a long time, it's well worth a rewatch. Absolutely. So hope you guys do enjoy that. Um, if you are new to the show, make sure you are following us and liking us at our social medias. We're at Facebook and Instagram. We under the name Retro Life for you. Number 4 YOU, and then our website. You can listen to us in the web browser on our player, or you can watch the videos on the website
Hmm.
at www.retrolife, the number 4, the letter u.com.
And you can do all that without you just got to spell it out at the
Spell it out.
gmail.com.
That's right. Let us know what you think about the show. If you have any suggestions or movies you want to hear about, or you want us to do and review, we do 80s and 90s movies right now. On the YouTube channel, we have where we upload our videos here. Um, we want to get much more than just movies up there. Get that going eventually. But anything movie wise that you want to see that we don't cover on here, just throw us some suggestions and we'll see if we can get to those as well.
Yeehaw.
Travis,
What up? What up?
I don't know if I want to ask you if you have anything to end the show with because you have been pretty dark lately.
Oh, I've been on probation. Oh, I got
Uh,
this one. I got one, but it ain't dark. It's not dark.
it's not.
This
Are
one's
you? Are
pretty
you
good.
sure? Because I mean, like we had to really clamp down
Yeah.
on you and put you on probation, so you didn't really get rid of us or
Yeah, I
anything.
was going further and further away. I was working on getting one of them bands.
Mm.
And I think everybody appreciate this one, man.
I tell you what. I tell you what. Go ahead, lead us out today. We're gonna give you one more chance to redeem yourself.
All right, one more chance. I'm not gonna say
Uh,
it's hilarious, but it ain't dark. It's a you know why thieves never target politicians?
Why do thieves not target politicians?
Yeah,
Why?
professional courtesy.
Oh my God! You know what? That's not funny. That's just true.